Ladies and gentlemen, here to the Prime $1,500 3v3 Search and Destroy, of course, coverage being brought to you by myself, Landon Lando Sanders, of course, along with the UMG studio, but of course, hopping in here toward round number 4 between GuapTop and ItsOurTime. Interesting team names, to say the least, but of course, we are hopping off here on some Arn Forest, round 1 underway, and it looks like we are unfortunately stuck in the overhead point of view for the first round. Of course, we do apologize for that, but it seems that it's pretty much overall dominance, I believe, coming in from the guys on ItsOurTime. Kind of take over the B-Bomb site with pretty much ease, as we'll be looking at Expo, pulling out the FG42, and I was really taking on a few notes kind of coming into this series, and even into tonight's tournament, and a lot of notes I was thinking about were FG42. We actually had a $300 minimum 44 variant, which actually took place yesterday, where we saw quite a bit of FG42 play with the recent kind of patch coming out, a lot of weapon tuning that's been done, and I was curious, do we see a lot more kind of different sniper play? Do we see the FG42 kind of get brought out? And without question, yesterday, we definitely did, and one of the map that has favored it in the past, it doesn't surprise me if we see quite a few more of those FGs, but it looks like in back-to-back rounds, I don't believe one player dropping for ItsOurTime, as they have successfully held it on defense and dominated it on the offense as well. But Donzell, pretty sure it's Donzell, but I could be wrong. Who knows? But ends up getting taken out here for the final kill. And now looking on, it looks like, yeah, no player has yet to die. When it looks like to the side of ItsOurTime, 4-0 for Crixical, as also having a flawless performance up to this point. Also the man with the bomb in his hands, and he's also found the first 2 bloods of each round. Can he do it again? Not having a whole lot of contest toward this A site as Crixical does start to peek out. So this is the difficult thing about defense, is whenever you get picked off like that, it's kind of the difficult part about it. But it's difficult when it comes in Arden Forest, especially because you have one preferred side over the other. Of course, A can be worked, but defense in 3v3s is a lot different than typical 4v4, as the nice teamwork comes in there for Teskiy. Able to drop one, and it looks like the first kill goes on the board, but not for much longer. Can't really survive to really kind of have a celebration about it, as Expo's here for the quick cleanup. But generally, it's the difficult thing when it comes down to 3v3s, especially on a map like Arden Forest, where it is obviously pretty much fairly site-heavy, not as much as, you know, I would say prior a St. Marie du Mall pre-patch or anything like that. But it definitely is when we can see some struggles on. Reason being is that you kind of want to have all of your teammates working toward a particular site, because once the numbers kind of decrease, once you're closer to 1 already off the start, your numbers obviously can kind of suffer for it. And you don't have a lot more lanes to watch. Map doesn't really favor 3 versus 3, kind of meant for 4v4 or 6v6 kind of gameplay. So have half of that means that each team member has a lot more to look at. But Criticized, able to trade out one. GodPaaR now left in a 1 versus 2 spot to finally to get a round on the board. Checking on the site, but nothing is going to be home, as Teskiy is there for the cleanup. Has 4 rounds up, 4 rounds down. It's just been overall dominance, essentially. I mean, we've been seeing some pretty good teamwork coming from the guys on ItsOurTime. I know in that last round, we kind of saw a team shot kind of come through, as one guy was kind of holding back barrels on bunker side. Tags up one, and then the great positioning from one guy who came out of U finish up the kill. So at least from what we've obviously been able to see, they're using pretty solid teamwork overall. They're obviously up in a pretty dominant way 4 rounds in a row. So you have 2 players who are yet to drop in total when you're looking at their kills, 12 and 2. Pretty impressive to say the least. But Crixical, man who's found 3 out of 4 of these first bloods. Bomb in his possession. On the opposite end, though, it looks like Teskiy looking for the first blood off on the A site, not going to have any opportunities to find that. I see them working this one slow. Good team challenge there. Expo, of course, does get the title of finding that one, and Criticized just like that drop. So 5 rounds in a row, of course, found from the guys on ItsOurTime. As you see Teskiy here finding the final 2, but along with these 2 kills, I believe his teammate actually earned streaks as well. So if there wasn't any more positives to add into this, I mean, coming up and obviously winning 5 rounds in a row, along with having streaks, you got to imagine they're feeling pretty good. So if we can actually take a look at Expo or Teskiy, and I'm not sure who got the streaks. I believe it was, yeah, Expo, who's going to have those. Yeah, so Glide Bomb, fighter pilot to work with. Teskiy, of course, very close to streaks as well if they weren't able to win this round, but Crixical finding one. Does get traded out, so Criticized at least is able to drop 1 for his troubles. But here comes the Glide Bomb, and it looks like Criticized not using Mountain is going to have a pretty difficult time at this moment. His position is known, and his teammate actually, Donzell, is in the back of the map, not supporting him whatsoever, as he's just like, yeah, I'm going to rock a sniper rifle, and good luck to you guys. But Crixical does take out another, so at least some positives for the time being. Teskiy last alive and drops one. Can he find the 1 versus 2? Donzell just toward his backside, as he will pick him off. So at least there's one round going the way of GuapTop when it comes down to this round number 4. It's the great timing. As you can see, Teskiy, after a turn, is back at the worst time possible. But, you know, generally, obviously, a round like that, when it comes down to a series, is very, very important for your overall morale coming into a map number 2. But, like I said, when you get 2 players who've only found 1 kill, it can obviously make things pretty difficult after, what, 6 rounds of play. So, with that, still a fighter pilot in the back of Expo's class. As it looks like the 2-man push toward B is what they're looking at for the moment. Aggressive rush, but it looks like GodPaaR is able to find that one. Coming around the corner, and I believe GodPaaR could have been spotted out. Expo has to know that he's here, a general idea of where he's at, and I don't believe, based on the class that he's using, that he isn't using Mountain. So it looks like probably using Airborne. So probably hearing those footsteps, but looks like the sniper coming out from Expo. Can he find anyone is the thing. As I believe both of them get dropped at the exact same time. So back-to-back rounds, of course, going the way of GuapTop. Trying to limit those streak usage. As this will be a very difficult one to come back from, to say the least. But a nice FG42 shot coming in there from Crixical. Yeah, I gotta say, I was coming into this series and I didn't really know a whole lot of these players. I've heard of GodPaaR. It's really like the only guy that I've heard of in the past. But based on a few things, I would imagine this would be the exact opposite result. But that just goes to show my knowledge when it comes down to certain teams, certain players, and search and destroy. But GodPaaR trying to clear out the site. And of course, a 3-man rush toward B. And it looks like player number 1, Expo, the only one who's going to have any knowledge of this. And that's the reason why, is because he's calling in those streaks. The reason why they're playing off of these and can't take out GodPaaR. So a glide bomb, fighter pilot, both have been used. No kills come from it, only knowledge. And GodPaaR has already used that stun to kind of clear up the site. Yet again, another first blood found. This time for Crixical, but GodPaaR is here. Drops one, just toward his right. Can't find him, and now the pressure of this game is all up to Donzell. Drops one. Can he find the second, though? A huge kill that needs to come in. Goes for the jump, and just like that, Donzell was there for the pickup. A 1 versus 2 with the sniper rifle. The first shot was a little bit delayed, and the second one came at a cost of a few bullets in the chest, but his ADS remains the same as the Kar 98K. Definitely a weapon still in full usage here. It's 3 rounds in a row for the guys on GuapTop. Desperately wanting to make this comeback. And like I said, they're gaining a lot of momentum right now. Having the potential usage of the streak. You also see the smoke gets tossed out inside of you, so they don't have any knowledge on what bomb set they're going to be going to. But not if Donzell is still watching through middle. They have no smoke to watch over him. Just like that, Donzell Crixical combining for 2. And now Crixical left all by himself. A 1 versus 3. The bomb is in his hands, and he's lonely. He's sitting inside a forest. It's cold. It's chilly. And he will, unfortunately, fall in a 4th round. Now gain here for GuapTop. As Crixical is getting involved in the kill feed, and I want to ask the driver, if possible, if we can actually go through all of GuapTop once the next round loads up to see if they are at any progression toward those streaks. So I'm curious how close they'd be. It'd probably be Donzell or Crixical who would be at those. But it looks like Donzell, the only guy to be looking at for the moment as far as streak usage. Of course, 125 points off that first one. Unfortunately, using the flamethrower is the third one, the 3rd streak. Not going to come into use whatsoever. But tossing out the nade toward back cabin, as what they've been really relying on is kind of these cleanup kills. They haven't really found the first blood. Despite winning 4 rounds in a row, they've only found first blood twice. The opposite has been Crixical, who's found 5 first bloods, 7 total for ItsOurTime. And all 5 of those came obviously in the first 5 rounds. But shot comes in. Donzell, huge first blood. Crixical is here for the challenge. Takes out one onto Teskiy. And now just like that, Crixical, yet again, left in a 1 versus 3 FG42, bomb in hand. Not bomb in hand, rather. Bomb in hand last round. But this time a little bit easier on him. Doesn't have to weather the weight of that, but 5-round comeback right now for GuapTop as they've totally turned this map on its head. And can we see the biggest choke in Call of Duty that's possible, essentially, is a 5-0 comeback in S&D? Is it going to happen? And this is a lot of pressure that's got to be on the guys of It's Our Time. Of course, going up 5-0, you're feeling confident. You're probably already thinking about the next map. You maybe even throw away a streak or a gunfight. So with that, first bloods are big, and you see the M1 Garand actually being brought out here from Donzell. I like this. He can transition a lot easier with that weapon. They have a 3v2 advantage when it comes down to this side, and Criticize can make things a lot easier for his team, but GodPaaR's there. He breaks open what could be the potential last round just like that. Now it's Teskiy, 1 versus 3. Trying to take out Criticize on the bomb, and here comes the glide bomb. And just like that, the 5-0 comeback and search and destroy for our first map here for tonight's tournament. If there was ever a way to start it, it would be like that. As a huge loss, the glide bomb, perfect example of what just happened in that game. Literally dropping a bomb in the last 6 rounds of play. As you're not going to see that happen very often. You're not going to see a 5-0 comeback, or a 6-0 comeback at that, happen in a normal match. But just like that, though, GuapTop, I mean, honestly, not even GuapTop at this point. I mean, when we talk about It's Our Time, I mean, generally, coming into this, they've got to be feeling pretty well. Like, I mean, they've got to be feeling very confident, right? I mean, they win the first 3 rounds. They win the first 4 rounds. They win they start to win round after round after round, and they're saying, okay, this is going to be easy. And, you know, generally, I mean, this is round 4. It's not, this is a round 1 matchup. It's not like, hey, we're starting off a little bit slow. Hey, we're having some issues. I mean, this was a match where they've been playing. This is a tournament where they've been playing quite a bit so far throughout the night. So I'm not even questioning whether or not the guns just weren't hot. It just the strategies weren't there. And I'm not sure maybe why the guns weren't shooting as well as they previously obviously ended up doing. But like I said, massive props to GuapTop. I think it's fair to say for obviously making a huge comeback like that. I think it's fair to say the kind of big 1v2 that came out from Donzell was a massive moment for them kind of throughout this Ardent 4 search and destroy. Moments like that, kind of big 1v2 clutches, obviously, that came about for them to at least advance themselves, trying to get to that round 11. And once they did, they obviously didn't surprise whatsoever. And that's the issue, right? When it comes to being down in a search and destroy, then obviously making a comeback, for the team that's obviously having the comeback being taken place on, it's difficult for them because it's a matter of do we waste our streaks? Do we use our streaks? Number 2 of our current round 4 matchup, of course, taking place here between GuapTop and It's Our Time. Of course, that is the Prime $1,500 3v3 search and destroy here for January 19th. It's myself, Landon Lanos Inners here, guiding you guys through the action for tonight's tournament. Soloing it all the way through, as it should be a fun time. Hopefully you guys are obviously enjoying the casting, because it obviously makes it a lot easier to cast when you have pretty insane games, to say the least. As map number 1, we end up seeing, like I said, the worst kind of opportunity for a comeback in Call of Duty history. The 5-0 search and destroy comeback. I've only seen it a few times in competitive play, and by no means does it ever get any less exciting than that. But still, obviously, we do talk about GuapTop making the 6-round sweep, kind of making a big comeback happen. And now with the advantage, they kind of play London Docks similar to how they did Ardent Forest. They play slow off the start, or do they take the momentum grabbed? And do they carry it? GodPaaR unfortunately tries to go for the Dolphin Dive. Expo will be there for the pickup in the end. So along with finding the ending kill, he also found one prior to the middle, rather, of this match. So Plant goes down onto this side. Of course, this is going to be the preferred of the 2. That one on Main Street compared to the one on Water side, a.k.a. A-bomb site. As you can definitely work both bombs, but when it kind of comes down to things, usually when you're trying to make that push toward the A site, you're going to have a smoke in your back pocket. Some utility, if not a pre-snipe, or a sniper rifle to kind of watch the pre-snipe, excuse me. So with that, looks like we're going to be seeing quite a bit of presence being shown for the defensive team on the A-bomb site. Looks like 2 kind of make their way through that Water Street. And 1 up top is going to be Teskiy. Based on his class, that could have been like a last-second decision for them to try and maybe make it toward this bomb site. Maybe just didn't have a class without a smoke on it, but definitely kind of interesting that he has a smoke rather than like a stun or a nade to make his way toward this bomb. But regardless, the push from the back does work out. The kind of full man push through that coal room is working out successfully as Expo 1v2 bomb in his favor and spots out both of them. Can he find the kill, though? A little bit of a late transition of shots coming in from from Expo there, as Criticize obviously finishes off things, and he's giving a little bit of a head wag inside of a closet there. But feeling pretty good, of course. He's 3-1. Bat to grab the defuse, it obviously is the closest player to streaks right now, which obviously is a pretty big advantage when you talk about GuapTop and whatnot. But still, kind of a interesting play that we see get brought up from GuapTop in general. They make a full two-man rush coming from water side. They choose the wrong site, but they work it into a flank, and obviously it works out very, very well for them. So now looking on, back on offense here for this group. Looks like they have to be aware of what could be a sniper shot coming in from Crixical and or Expo. Looks like Expo potential for that. We know, and we also talked about Donzell was a big sniper when it came down to Arn Forest. Haven't seen him rock it yet, but definitely potential for it. Yeah, as the no kills going down, just shots in the side. It's criticized. Mech in the flank, but it looks like Teskiy is there through middle. Donzell's there for the pickup, but in the end, it's the trade in favor of ItsOurTime and GodPaaR. Finding himself down. Bomb in a pretty awkward position. As we've seen both teams kind of favor the A-bomb site, so both teams kind of being aware of a offside hit. I mean, generally when it comes to London Docks, I think really there's not really there's obviously a preferred side of the two, but by no means is it odd to see someone push the A-bomb side. It's just kind of interesting that both teams kind of focus as much as they did when it comes down to that, after obviously we do see success for them on B both times back-to-back, so. Regardless, GodPaaR takes out one. Expo still left in his sights and actually goes for the bomb. That's a very risky play for him to try to go for it. And now trying to make the transition to B. And I'd imagine the thought in the back of his mind is saying, okay, I just was able to grab the bomb pretty quickly. Odds are he's probably not here, but is probably thinking also that surely he knows where the bomb is because it's literally in the middle of the street. So probably a lot of questions in the back of the mind here for GodPaaR, but regardless, he's just happy he got the bomb planted. Just trying to make sure he doesn't get a sneak defuse on. Tries to go for the quick challenge. And with all the questions going on in his mind, the only one that matters the most is, where's Expo at? Expo does find the huge 1 versus 1. Drops GodPaaR. And now is going to go for the defuse as we see the guys from ItsOurTime now taking the round advantage here, 2-1. This is the closest match that we've seen this entire series, besides, of course, around 11, but definitely the most closely contested as far as consistency is concerned. But now looking on, do we see kind of more pushes toward the A-bomb side, or do we kind of see pretty much standard play when it comes down to B? Looks like some pressure through barrels. As looks like the Donzell might be having a sniper out based on his positioning, kind of holding that back water side. And yes, actually rocking out the Kar 98K, so he's probably going to give a call out soon to his teammates. Hey, things are pretty much clear here. They might have made that rotation back. They knew the pressure was up, but it looks like a Crixical does drop one. This was a guy who was finding quite a few first bloods. I think he had at least 5, I want to say, in their matchup. 5 for 7, I want to say, in first bloods in Arn Forest. But now shots start to come in. Pressure toward A does work out. So you see a wrap from A back to B, then back to A again. As GodPaaR probably a little bit dizzy at the moment. After losing that big 1v1 in the last round, now has to go big and face off against even another opponent. But coming from a pretty nice angle based on the player's position, they're probably not going to be expecting him from coming from this direction. Does have Mountain on and spots the leg, spots the feet of Expo. A few shaky shots, but he finds it regardless. 24 seconds left and knows exactly where Crixical is. And now based off this, I love this play from GodPaaR, but doesn't go through water side. A very risky play coming in from Crixical. But coming on the flank, he's playing things passive. Expecting him to be on the bomb. And just like that, narrowly does find it, about a shot difference, a bullet difference. As GodPaaR nearly gets turned on. And the very next engagement nearly turns on Crixical here, but regardless, Crixical going big. A pretty interesting 1v1 scenario that we see, because of course Crixical in that position is holding back box. He's fully aware that a push could be made on him at any moment, but decides to kind of make a flank on the enemy. Tries to go for the risky play. And then once he kind of rotates around, he realizes that, hey, I have some transition time, I have some time to waste. Waste about 4 or 5 seconds, and then goes for the flank on the GodPaaR, who is just waiting for him to try to challenge back around. GodPaaR definitely was not expecting to have a full flank come in based on this kind of power position, but the nice play coming in from PaaR and criticized there. The bait and switch, the nade, along with the FG shots to drop the first player sitting inside a fire. Based off that, they know there's not a whole lot of positioning lingering inside toward A, so they have the free plants. Criticized trying to find another kill in this round, but unfortunately does end up following in. Right now, if you're Donzell and GodPaaR, I mean, it's obviously nice to keep in mind streaks, probably not playing for it, but if I'm Donzell, I'm trying to bait for my teammate right now. I'm not having a whole lot of opportunities to kind of find first bloods. So while he does get the trade, obviously leaves his teammate up to a pretty easy fight. Kind of works out in the end. So GodPaaR, closest man to streaks, stays up. Gets the bomb plant along with the kill at the end. But that's the thing when it comes to 3v3s. Obviously, at certain points, it's a lot more difficult to kind of earn those score streaks just because you obviously have the ability of one less player kind of lingering on the map, one less player to earn streaks from. So kind of bomb plants, kind of giving the bomb to the guy who's closest to streaks, having the ability to have different players rock that objective is very, very big. But I like the kind of smoke being tossed out from mid-map. And I think generally what that smoke is used for, and I've seen a few pro players actually rock that exact one kind of from back spawn, that smoke is sometimes used from that position as a bait, so I'm not sure if Donzell and co from GuapTop are aware of that. Obviously, it doesn't really kind of play out too much, but I like the idea of throwing that smoke. For those who are familiar with like other FPSs, like CS:GO and whatnot, as looks like we actually see the Thompson get brought up from Donzell. So still continuing on with the interesting strats. He's rocked a sniper rifle, the PPSH, an M1 Garand, and now the Thompson. So 4 different weapons. In just about a map and a half. We'll see if he pulls out something crazy. Maybe like the grease gun. He got a patch. I don't know. But kind of getting more on the smoke talk and whatnot. You can definitely kind of throw that smoke as a bait. A lot of teams will kind of take it as that, so they won't rotate toward the A site. So maybe for future competitive games, it can kind of be used as a kind of bait smoke when in reality you're kind of smoking it normally as a non-actual push, but regardless, they do go for it in the round prior. Crixical quickly finding himself here in round number 7 in a 1 versus 2. Donzell's here for the pick. Fast reaction time there with the Thompson. Does do a few shots in the body, but Crixical this position now. Can he find at least one onto GodPaaR? He's just waiting for him to make that push inside of fire. Drops up, though. Shaky shots coming in from GodPaaR, to be honest with you. Should have found that one a little bit quicker, but now we have Criticized versus Crixical. Gamer tag similar. Now find themselves in a 1 versus 1. Crixical is going to drop this round as he doesn't have enough time to go either for the defuse or even the kill. So Criticizes here and also gives a nice little stare at the dead body as once he finds it, obviously feeling pretty good about it. I don't know. That's kind of creepy, to be honest with you. I've watched a lot of Criminal Minds, to be honest, and I'm just not a fan when people do that. I'm kind of on edge. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little bit on edge after that kill, but still, I mean, hey, it's just Call of Duty. It's just World War II. It's just World War II. This is the point where I talk to myself. I'm just like, what am I? Like, what's happening in there? But GodPaaR tries to make the challenge through mid-cut, and based off of that, now he has free roam to kind of make his way into barrel building. Knows that since the second challenge wasn't there, he kind of has free roam. He backs up. And this is the point where the defensive team, you see, based off that push, or what I really like from GodPaaR is that he makes his way through mid-cut, at least checks inside of barrels, knows that nothing's there, but he realizes that, hey, there's most likely someone that's going to be watching the flank, at least off the start. So let's actually go on board with Donzell really quick. Yeah, Donzell ends up finding one onto Crixical. Waits kind of for the ability for the team to kind of get distracted, so I like that play a lot. At different points during this round, they wait for the flank to kind of come through. Now Teskiy actually being aware of it, also drops, and it looks like Expo does shortly after there as well. So, interesting round that obviously we see come in from the guys on It's Our Time. Had different moments throughout the round where they were debating on going for a flank, and kind of on this B-bomb site, it's an issue because if you wait for too much longer, especially in 3 versus 3s, it's obviously a problem because when you're making your way toward a bomb site, like I said, you're playing a man down. I mean, essentially, you're kind of playing a 4v4 game mode with a man down. So there's always a perspective where that fourth player could be looking. A lot of the times that fourth player's position is on the flank, the kind of position where most players prefer not to look. So based off of that, a lot of times you're going to have your flank opened up quite a bit, and the guys from It's Our Time play to it very, very well. But speaking of playing well, Donzell still rocking the Thompson, playing well with it as he finds his second first blood here in the match. It could be the final one here as well. Crixical also rocking out the sniper, or not the sniper rifle, the Thompson rather. As Criticized quickly finds himself in a 1v2, spots out one toward back bus, and knows the positioning of one, but only has 4 pistol bullets there in the machine. As he will drop, and just like that. Round number 10 coming up. Defuse going through for Expo, as he's now reached the 10 kill limit. not too close to streaks, but if they kind of want to make a comeback, playing for those is obviously decently important. So looking on here, I definitely want to kind of stay on board with the offensive team. Of course, the team who's currently down. The guys from ItsOurTime, Crixical going for the pre-nade. That one probably not going to be good. And it's going to kind of zone those guys toward Closet. And you see him kind of go for the immediate challenge. They're going to send 2 inside of Closet. See if it works out. But Crixical holding the head glitch very, very well. Crixical has to find it, and he does exactly that. Crixical falls, and now just like that, Teskiy left in a 1 versus 3, solely based off the fact that Crixical was watching through Closet. However, though, Teskiy does have the element of surprise. Let's see what we can try to pull off here, as he does drop 1. Donzell holding the head glitch from the opposite side this time. His teammates fall on a similar fate based off of it, but GodPaaR is there for the pickup, and this one will be closed out here in round number 10. GuapTop will take this round number 4 match and obviously now progress to the next round as the, of course, Prime $15 3v3 Search and Destroy propels another victor, but also waves goodbye to another team. So just like that, it's our time. Maybe a little bit of a delay. Maybe it's not their time just yet. They have more tournaments to obviously play. We do obviously here at UMG Gaming do have a number of different tournaments going on at all times, of course, throughout the week. And obviously, like I said, they can kind of test their wits when it comes to another Search and Destroy. It's always doomed to fail. Will you